Hey everybody, this is the Mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today as I take a deeper look into the most recent episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 4, Episode 18, or Season 5, Episode 3. I'm not going to do a full episode recap. There are plenty of other content creators who do a great job of this. Instead, I'm going to focus on specific segments of the episode that I believe could be used as teachable moments for myself and the audience. Initially, I was going to focus on the interpersonal dynamics between the cast members and their spouses, but I felt like I would just be repeating myself because nothing has changed much since season 1, 2, 3, and 4. So instead, I'm going to focus on Martell and Melody's dynamic and why it was very difficult for me to watch them on screen together, okay? Initially, I became interested in Love and Marriage Huntsville because I wanted to see successful married black couples doing the damn thing in the community. I was tired of the representation of black people in the media as messy, ghetto, ratchet, ignorant, etc., etc. And I felt like this show provided a great counter narrative to the stereotypes and negative stereotypes that have been proliferating the media and the internet and music and television about black folks for the past 30 years. So when I watched the show initially, I was like, this is great. I'm happy to see these people win in life. They're beautiful couples. All the couples, they're working together. They're in the South. We don't see enough representations of Southern black culture on TV. It was great. And then, of course, we find out that everything that glitters was not gold in the Holt household. It is what it is. In the subsequent seasons from season 1, things got progressively worse and worse and worse as Martell's relationship began to deteriorate in front of our very eyes, and it was very painful for the audience to witness not just Melody go through stuff, but Martell and the children and the people around this couple go through these drastic, painful changes in their relationships. Friendships were lost, relationships were severed, marriages were broken, homes were broken. So it was a lot of trauma packed into literally 4 seasons of a relatively new show. And everyone who's watched the show from season 1 would agree that Martell and Melody getting a divorce was for the best, okay? It wasn't ideal, but it was something that was necessary because neither Martell and Melody were going to oblige the other. They were not going to compromise their values and their expectations for the relationship. And for good reason, right? Melody did not want to share her husband with other women, and Martell did not want to share his wife with her career. That's the nuts and bolts of it, bottom line, okay? So when Martell and Melody are in the scene together talking about their children, it was really uncomfortable to watch Martell and Melody have a conversation together, even if you negate what happened afterwards. If you act like you don't know what happened after the trip to Florida and the confrontation that was that they had with Miss Wanda a few months ago, even if you were not aware of that, you can sense the tension in the room between them because both of them are still disappointed about this situation. Melody may be happy that she's out of it, right? And she's free of Martell's abuse and this negative attitude and behavior. But neither Martell and Melody really wanted to get a divorce. I can see that, okay? Melody was forced to get a divorce. She was forced to let go of somebody that she loved because he refused to stop seeing another woman. And Martell felt like Melody refused to put him first. She was putting her brand before her relationship with him. So in Martell's mind, and this is me just speculating here, right? Martell felt like Melody was cheating on him with her career. And so he decided to find a girlfriend to weaponize against his wife because he was punishing her for making her career and her brand central to her life. In Martell's mind, Melody's priority and her focus and her love and her passion was for her business and not him or the relationship for whatever reason, right? It could be because Martell is extremely needy. And Melody probably told herself, I do not have the capacity to satisfy Martell to the extent that he needs and manage our family businesses. I don't have the time to do both. Martell is very emotionally needy. I mentioned that he has moon square Venus. So Martell wants a woman to put him on a pedestal and make him central to her life. But he also wants an intelligent, ambitious career woman. And it is very difficult for any man or woman to put their partner on a pedestal while putting their career on the pedestal too. the 4th house and the 10th house are opposing each other for a reason. I think I remember in season 2, after Melody's session with Dr. Francis, she mentioned that in spite of her greatest efforts, it was difficult for her to take off the mommy hat and put on the career hat and then the wife hat. It was hard for her to juggle all 3 things efficiently. You cannot have it all. Most women can't have it all. Most men cannot have it all, right? We see what's happening with Gisele Bündchen and Tom Brady, okay? Tom Brady, his passion and his heart is in his career. It's in football. His wife is upset about that. The wife is a 7th house. The career is a 10th house. This is another square, all right? These are incompatibilities that have to be integrated. Unfortunately, something has to suffer. Either your career suffers because of your marriage or your marriage suffers because of your career. One of the two. So Martell wanted a mommy figure to love him unconditionally, put him on a pedestal, put all his needs first. At the same time, put all their time, energy, and effort into building 2 successful businesses that they needed to sustain themselves and their large family. You want 5 kids, you need an income to support 5 children. And so Martell and Melody starting the businesses was a way for them to be economically self-sufficient while passing down a legacy to their children. What Martell did not understand is that running a business is like having another child. It's like having 2 children, okay? And once you have these kids, they don't grow up and become independent and, you know, they're autonomous and self-sustaining. No, a successful business requires 24/7, 365 management, okay? It's going to take up all of your time. It is not a self-sustaining organism, right? And so when Melody was putting in the work to make sure the businesses were not just maintaining themselves, but they were also growing and becoming more successful, they would hire more staff, they would have more contracts, they would earn more money. That requires a lot of discipline and sacrifice, and things get sacrificed when you're running a business. In most instances, either the partner or the children or the home front gets sacrificed in pursuit of academic or career success. Somebody's always making a sacrifice in these relationships. So this is why Tom Brady and his wife are going through drama now. They have enough money, but his passion is football. His passion is not his wife and his kids. I'm sorry. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's the way he was made. But at the same time, he has to make a sacrifice and a compromise. And that is what the squares represent in astrology. If you cannot sacrifice or compromise, you're going to lose what you value, okay? So Martell wanted Melody to be more of a mommy figure because he may not have had that when he was growing up. But he also wanted her to be a trophy wife, right? Mr. and Mrs. Power Couple. Martell does not want to be with Arion because Arion does not satisfy his Venus in Aquarius. And what is Venus in Aquarius? Someone who is independent, attractive, ambitious, and really intelligent. Arion makes Martell feel good because she puts him on a pedestal and he is central in her life. But because there's a square here, that's not going to be satisfying to him either. He wants a woman like Melody or Cherie or another boss to make him look good to other men in the world. So I have a mommy figure that's also a status symbol. That is impossible to satisfy. Impossible. And so because Martell felt like Melody was more invested in the career, in her career and her success more than him, right? That's where her heart was. He was looking for someone to be an emotional substitute, someone who would put him first on a pedestal. So when Melody gave Martell the ultimatum of leaving Arion alone or, you know, losing her, he could not choose because Arion made his heart feel good, right? His emotions feel good. And Melody made him look good, which was a boost to his ego. Martell thoroughly enjoyed watching Melody in her mommy role. That made him really happy, okay? Cooking for the kids, taking the kids to church, doing the girls' hair, praying with the children. He loved seeing her in that role, and then she would flip it and, you know, become the boss at the office. But at some point, I think that she started to focus more on building the brand of Melody Holt, right? And he started to sense that, not to justify his actions, no. But he was like, she's cheating on me with her career, which is why when I call her during the daytime, she don't have enough time for my needy ass. Okay. So when I'm calling you in the daytime, you're in this meeting and you're in that meeting. Yes, Melody said I have meetings to go to. So he found Arion to call and speak to during the day because he was feeling insecure that his wife was pretty much leaving him behind and elevating in her career and building her brand outside of being his wife. That's the issue. So when Melody was like, you got to sacrifice this lady for me, Martell was like, you're not sacrificing your career for me. So why would I do that? And this is the crux of the issue between them. Melody began to feel as she was no longer central to Martell's life, right? She was no longer on this pedestal of being the primary or the only woman that I want to be with. And so when she found out that she wasn't enough for him, not because of anything that she's done wrong actively, but because someone like Martell needs a whole lot. He needs a lot of attention and different types of attention. He wants a mommy and a trophy at the same time. When she realized that it would be more difficult for her to satisfy his needs than for her to leave, she said, I'm out. I can't do this anymore, right? And so it wasn't because she wanted to leave. She wanted to be enough for him. Melody wanted to be enough for Martell. But because of Martell's issues, no woman is going to be enough for him. Whoever he marries, once he rushes to get married again, he's going to do the same thing too. He's going to go on social media acting as if this woman is his salvation and he's learned his mistakes from the past, not understanding that there's a core issue with the way that he was raised and the woman that he values and desires. He does not want to marry a woman who's just like his mother. He wants to marry a woman who's a status symbol, and his mother was not that. So again, there's a dissonance that Martell has not addressed. And I think that before they had this come together scene, you know, to co-parent and communicate better for the sake of the children, they should have gone through counseling. Both of these people need extensive and intensive post-marital counseling, okay? Because what happened between them was so toxic and painful for both of them. You can still see it between them. It's coloring their conversations, their body language. You can tell by the way that Martell reacts and responds to Melody that he has a lot of regrets, that he still wants to be with her. And this irritates Melody. It irritates Melody because it triggers her memories of not wanting to let this person go. It's easy to let somebody go when they don't want you, right? Well, okay, I don't want to be with you no more. And you're like, okay, it hurts, but I'm out. But when someone is constantly reminding you of how much they still feel for you, Melody's feelings for him are being triggered too. And it's not like she wants to be with him. No. Because Melody still cares for Martell, not romantically. She cares about his feelings and things of that nature, right? And things of that nature. She cares about his feelings, right? And she wants him to be happy. It triggers her to see him disappointed about this divorce because his disappointment is a reminder of what they lost and what she was forced to give up. Again, it's a different can of worms when you are letting go of somebody that you don't want to be with anymore. They don't want to be with you, whatever the case may be, right? It's very different from being forced to let go of someone you still love. Okay, Martell and Melody were still getting it in during the pandemic, right? Before she left. There was still some emotional connection and attachment there. And I think as time progresses and the negative memories subside, she's going to reminisce about the good times they had together. It always happens to everybody. Doesn't mean she wants to be back with him. It just means that Martell can still get under her skin and Melody can still get under Martell's skin. People tend to marry the person who gets under their skin the most, the one who they can't shake no matter how ridiculous and abusive and unstable they are. I mean, a few weeks after the scene with Martell and Melody were recorded in his house, guess what happens? There's a huge, nasty blow up on social media, okay? Both of these people are still triggered by each other, but for different reasons, right? And they're still both very angry with each other. Martell is furious with Melody. He's furious with her, and she's furious with him because he's furious with her. It's a constant toxic loop. And unfortunately, because I don't think they've really sat down with a mediator to talk about their issues and why things have happened the way they happened, it is premature for them to come together to talk about anything pertaining to the children whatsoever. Okay? Because as I said again, they weren't ready for that, right? And we can see that in this scene. Forget everything else that happened afterwards that we found out on social media, okay? They were not ready for that level of connection or intimacy or closeness yet. They need extensive therapy. And this show is a constant reminder of the toxicity and the drama and the emotional violence that was inflicted on Melody. So when the cast talks about her, it's cringy. It's cringy. I guess production is forcing them to talk about Melody because there's no reason for them to talk about her since she's not even filming with them anymore and she doesn't really deal with them like that anyway. And Kimmy, again, is irresponsible spreading rumors, but that may be production asking her to do that. And again, I don't, whatever. It is what it is. But Martell and Melody, no, they're not ready to film together yet. It's very awkward seeing them together because they have not healed their issues, right? And they're still very angry with each other because they blame the other for the divorce. Martell, in his mind, put Melody on a pedestal. Even if he was dogging her out and cheating on her, in his mind, she was central to him. And he got angry because she was depriving him of her. Okay? She was taking her time, energy, and love and attention away from him because he valued her. If he didn't value her, he wouldn't have cared if she was working all day and night, right? That's his logic in his mind. If I didn't care about you, it wouldn't hurt me to not be able to connect with you and communicate with you throughout the day, right? But instead of dealing with those issues of abandonment and neglect, he decided to find somebody else to fill the void, which was Ariane, okay? So again, Ariane catered to Martell's emotional needs, and Melody catered to his desire for money, status, a beautiful, ambitious, attractive, hardworking trophy wife, right? He had the best of both worlds in his mind. And again, Melody's very angry because she's like, I did a damn good job juggling both the kids' needs, your needs, and the business. A damn good job. 4 babies. Okay, most women who are careerists are not having 4 babies like that. She made that compromise for Martell. He wanted a lot of kids and a big family, and so she accommodated him. Okay, she was still cooking for the kids, cleaning for the kids, doing the girls' hair. So she did the best she could, better than most women could, to be honest, right? To maintain running a business, a family, and her husband's needs. Okay, it's just that Martell needed too much, and he punished her for that. So Melody's very angry. I don't even say bitter. That word is used to diminish or discredit justifiable anger that women have towards their partners after they've been disrespected, abused, maligned, cheated on, whatever. And so, yeah, I don't want to call her bitter, but both of them are still very angry about this. They're both very hurt because they did not want this to happen. When I saw them interacting with each other, I was feeling like they, in their minds, was like, this was not supposed to be like this. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Even though it was for the best. I can't believe we're here right now. That's the sense I got from both of them. And Melody may have sensed that because Martell was projecting that. Not because I wanted him to project it, but because you cannot go through what they went through as a couple on TV. Okay, it's still fresh, relatively fresh. And then all of a sudden you're in a room together filming and talking about stuff. That's not realistic. Okay, and so they kind of jumped the gun, I believe, and they filmed together and they tried to work things out prematurely without receiving couples counseling. Not as a romantic couple, but they're still, they're still co-parents. They still have children together. They would benefit from post-divorce counseling, both of them, because it's still too raw and Martell is still too hurt because he didn't want to lose Melody. It's just that his personality disorder made it difficult for him to articulate what he needed, and it made it difficult for any woman to satisfy his needs, right? Martell called Ariane 50 times back to back. He did the same thing to Melody. That's somebody who has a separation anxiety or an attachment disorder. Calling somebody 50 times in a row is like a compulsive fear of losing control of someone or losing access to somebody. So Martell needs to deal with that issue and also deal with how his issues affected his marriage to Melody. And Melody has to also be aware that Martell felt like Melody was cheating on him with her career. He felt like her heart was in her career and not with him. But like most men, when Martell got his feelings hurt, he wanted to hurt Melody, right? When men's delicate feelings get hurt, they want to hurt other people in response, okay? They call women emotional for crying, but men are also emotional, and their emotion is anger and rage and abuse, okay? So when Melody hurt Martell's feelings by working more and being more successful, he decided to hurt her by weaponizing another woman against her and saying, this is how I want you to be with me. But Melody was like, if I was this way with you, the way she is, then we would not be Mr. and Mrs. Holt. We would not have a brand. We would not have success. We would not have as much money, right? I can't be like her because guess what? Being like Ariane is going to make it difficult for me to run our businesses at the capacity that I'm doing now that's necessary to sustain them. Okay, it's not a job that you can leave at 5 o'clock like Martell was doing when he was done with his, his managerial supervision work on the field. No. Running a business is 24/7, and Melody was taking care of the admin work. And I mentioned this before. I don't know if they had that conversation yet. They need to talk about what really happened, why it happened, without yelling and barking and getting triggered over each other. Because Martell, unfortunately, is not a very linear thinker. Okay, Sometimes he bends the truth to make himself look good, and you cannot have that when you're trying to go through counseling, because counseling requires honesty, it requires transparency, it requires vulnerability, it requires some level of receptivity from both partners to see what they did wrong in their relationship, okay? Now, again, wrong is subjective, right? Because most people would agree that Melody was right in doing what she did as far as supporting Martell by getting the builder's license, right? That they needed to start their home building business. This is what I think Melody's upset about too. Martell kept moving the goalposts in their relationship. So Martell wanted a big family, right? And a big family requires a lot of maintenance and management of the home. Cooking, cleaning, doing the girls' hair, going to church, all this other stuff. But unfortunately, Martell did not study hard enough for his builder's license exam, which could have possibly freed up some of Melody's time when it came to running the business, right? So instead of her working from 8 to 8, she could have worked from 8 to 4 if Martell wanted to pick up the slack. And the problem is that he could not do that. So you want a woman that is nurturing, loving, caring, protective, unconditional love, a mommy to you and the babies, but you also need somebody to carry you on their back, right? To run the businesses, because you're not doing what you're supposed to do and you're playing hooky. So Melody's very angry about that also. It's like they both have to speak about this in counseling, because I could see why there's an impasse here. Martell wanted more Melody's time, right? But Melody was like, you want too much of my time. I'd have work to do. But I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Melody began to use her work as a way to get away from Martell and his neediness. I wouldn't be surprised at all. It happens to a lot of people who are married. They may do it subconsciously. It may not be a conscious thing. Okay, well, I'm going to work more to not have to deal with my partner today. But I see so many professionals who work throughout the day and the night to not have to go home to their spouses. Okay? Not saying that's what Melody was doing by choice, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't spend as much time with him during the day. And maybe even when she was with him, she was not as engaged with him as she used to be, because she has more professional obligations. And so a lot of men do this. A lot of men do what Martell's done. Women do it too. Women cheat on their professional husbands all the time. Look at men in the military. Their wives cheat on them all the time, right? Women who are married to doctors, women who are married to athletes, women who are married to professionals who are on the field or at work more than they're at home. It's not uncommon. It's just that Martell was so abusive with it. He was so arrogant because he wanted to hurt Melody, because he felt like Melody hurt him by not making him central in her life. And that's why, again, this scene between Martell and Melody, the show in general, is just so toxic. Like, it's just, you watch it because you want to see improvements. And you're invested in the stories and you want to see these people win. But at the same time, it's just really, really, really difficult to see them together. And in every scene is about freaking drama. Like, it's just, I don't know what to say, you know. I think it was also irresponsible for Destiny to try to basically try to create a rift between Martell and Melody again by passing on the rumor that Kimmy said about Melanika. It's irresponsible because Destiny knows how difficult Melody and Martell's divorce was. And if they're trying to get back to a good place, it is not good. It's not a good idea to bring up old irrelevant dirt as if Melody was attacking Martell and saying Martell was some sort of hoe. Like, that's irresponsible, because you know how Martell thinks, and things can get blown out of proportion so easily. If they're trying to work together to reconcile and, you know, get on a better terms with each other, why bring up stuff from the past that could, like, re-trigger negative emotions and arguments and drama? Like, this is the thing, and I'm gonna keep it 100. If Martell and Melody want to get back on good, solid ground again, they have to get rid of that circle of friends they have. They have to. Because I suspect that as they start to come together, if they decide to reconcile, not romantically, but if they decide to work together as a team and put their differences aside, I suspect that the other people in the cast will, you know, subtly throw salt or remind them of arguments and drama and, you know, toxicity that's been between them in the past, just for their own clarification or entertainment, okay? Because sometimes people ask you questions acting as if they give a damn, but they just want to be entertained by the tea. Kimmy was also irresponsible passing along rumors about Melanika. But again, this seems like production, because that was like the basis of their whole scene with Kimmy and Tisha and Destiny to talk about Melody. She's not there anymore, right? She's not cool with half of the cast, so to speak. She's doing her own thing. Now she's, it's almost like the show is radioactive. And it feels like a crime scene, okay? The show is not interesting enough without Martell and Melody's chemistry, whether they're fighting or not. People like seeing them together. So now the cast has to bring up stuff about the couple, about their relationship, about what was and what happened. And it's like, it's ridiculous. You know what's interesting? I wonder how Martell's relationship with Destiny would change if he got back cool with Melody. I wonder if he would cast Destiny to the side for Melody, and Destiny would do something to get back in good graces with Martell. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. But it was just interesting to me that Destiny did not seem to be happy that Martell and Melody are on better terms, and she wanted to just like put out some negative news about Melody so that Martell could feel some kind of way about them, which again is irresponsible because they worked really hard to get to this place, I think, and the kids are involved, and it's like, so I'm wondering if the cast has a vested interest in Martell and Melody getting back on better terms. Do they want that to happen? Why or why not? Right? We saw what happened when they were married. It is what it is. But yeah, it's just weird to see them together talking. Not that I don't want them to piece things up. Not that I don't want Martell and Melody to piece things up and to, get on better terms for the sake of the kids. It's just that it has to be done right. And they both need counseling and therapy with each other and separate to resolve the issues that caused this problem in the first place. Because I still think neither of them wanted this, right? Melody had to leave to survive. That is different from leaving because you want to leave. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes people leave an abusive situation because if they don't leave, they're going to suffer even more. But that doesn't mean you don't love the person that's abusing you. It just means that you realize that you can't change them, and their behavior and their attitude is detrimental to your well-being. That's different from not loving somebody and leaving because it's a wrap. Melody and Martell they can still trigger each other for various reasons that I'm not going to get into even more at this point. But they can still trigger each other. And we saw this a couple weeks ago. Even without the recent social media antics, I would have predicted that Martell and Melody's reunion would be short-lived because there's too much drama and trauma and pain and disappointment. They're still both very disappointed about this. Like, it wasn't supposed to be like this. And they look at each other with that. Like, Martell's looking remorseful a bit, and Melody's looking like, how could you? This betrayal, like, ugh, she's furious with him, and he's really furious with her. Like, I think I gotta fix that up, because every time they get together, it's going to be this, atomic explosion of unresolved feelings, anger, and regret. Martell really didn't think that Melody was going to leave him. And she didn't think that she would ever have a reason to leave him either. So for her to do that, it took a lot out of her. He pretty much, again, forced her to cut off her feelings for him. That is very traumatizing for women. And women get very angry with men when they're forced to let go of the men that they love. It's almost like you're making me into something that I'm not. I want to love you. I want to be your wife. I want to be the mother of your children, blah, blah, blah. I want to be your life partner. But guess what? Your behavior to me is so outrageous. It is so egregious and abusive that you're forcing me to let go of something that I love and I care about. I'm angry about that. I'm angry that you abused me so much that I was forced to let go of you because I wasn't going to do it. There was nothing you could have said or done to make me let go of you, right? And this is how Melody's thinking. I'm speculating, but I think she's thinking this way because Melody's a very stubborn, determined person, okay? I don't think Melody ever thought she would have to leave Martell, especially after just having a baby. She was still making babies with this man. So in her mind, it was like she had some hopes that he would change. She didn't want to do this. But now that you forced me to let go of you, I can't stand you now. I can't. Because Martell had to hurt Melody so bad that in her mind, it was justified for her to leave someone that she at some point probably would have died for. She would have fought for him and died for Martell under different circumstances. Melody doesn't seem to be the type to let Martell fight on his own. She would be right beside him fighting to the end. And that's what she thought she was doing in this situation. And it's like, when you realize that you're fighting for something by yourself. Well, I can't even say that. Well, I can't even say that. It's almost like I said, Martell did not know how to articulate that he wanted Melody to be a mother figure to him too, to make him central to her life. And so the word submissive came into the picture. Submit means that you are completely under my control. I am the center of your life. I am your priority. You forsake all things and people and businesses and career and aspirations for me. Like a mommy puts her child first. But I don't think Martell's mother put him first. I don't think she had the capacity to do that for whatever reason. So he wants his wife to be his mother too. A lot of men want their wife to be their mother, especially Capricorn men and Cancer men. And I think Martell knows that he would sound ridiculous asking his wife to be his mother too, or he didn't have the language for it. Some men don't have the language to express their trauma. And even though Martell is a blockhead, he still has complex feelings. Okay? And so he may not have had the language to express his complex feelings because of the way he was raised and the culture he comes from. And because he did not want to be as vulnerable as he should have been to his wife. I think Melody saw the weaknesses in him and she did protect him like a mother would protect a child. But when you're dealing with somebody with NPD or personality disorder, they unfortunately weaponize your love against you because of their separation anxiety. It's almost like, I'd rather push you away than you leave me, in a sense. So Martell was doing, it's so complicated. Martell needs extensive therapy with his mother. His mother should be there too. Okay? Because she is a part of the problem in this situation. She needs to be in therapy with Martell. Martell and Melody need to be in therapy together. I think it will be a cool episode to see all the cast members of the show in therapy. I think there was a therapist named Dr. Love, and she was on TV, and she was like a couples counselor for like Benzino and other rappers. Coolio was there with his 3 braids. There were a few, I forgot what network it was on, but I think it was OWN. And, I don't know what happened, why it didn't come back, maybe because of the pandemic. But yeah, they all need therapy as a team, as a group, as a cast. They need it separately, right? They need it with their parents. They need it with their partners. They need it with their children. I think the entire cast should be in therapy. Everybody on the show should participate in group counseling. They need to, because it's a mess. And every single week we're reminded of the mess that was. It's like radiation poisoning. The bomb has already exploded. It exploded 2 seasons ago, but it's like, you're still radioactive. The storylines are still radioactive. Okay? Okay, for some announcements, I'm going to resume my astrology readings for customers on October 3rd, which is next Monday. The astrology course will be posted on October 17th. The weekly tarot readings will be posted later on today on my Mind of Lilith Tarot channel. And I also recorded a fall 2022 tarot reading for all the signs. Some of the messages were not good. And so I'm trying to figure out whether or not I should post it or re-record another one. I don't know. But some of the messages, alluded to some danger, some near-death situations, divorces and things like that. So I don't know if I want to put that out there. I may record another 3-month reading. And I'll decide whether or not I want to post this particular reading today. If not, I'll let you guys know. Probably by Wednesday, I'll have the 3-month readings up. Also, I'm going to open up a membership tier for astrology readings only. So I'll be doing astrology readings for celebrities once a week on the membership tier. And so they'll probably be posted to the main channel for all YouTubers months later. But members get early access to some of the readings that I'll be doing for celebrities. Each week, I will conduct a poll of which celebrities you guys want me to focus on. And then I'll do my reading afterwards. I'm going to leave it there. I look forward to reading you guys' comments. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will speak to you soon.